Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of The Backstory, the final episode of Season 2. I wanted to thank you all for all your support this season. It truly means a lot. If you've enjoyed the podcast so far, I would really appreciate if you could hit that subscribe button. It really does help us out. Today, we speak to Maurice Siegfried, a young and aspiring boxer from Switzerland, who speaks to us about how boxing transformed his life and why it could also transform yours. With that, we'll explore how the rigorous world of boxing can arm you with resilience, self-defense, and an unbeatable spirit. Maurice speaks to us about his grueling sparring sessions, his fitness regime, and his boxing aspirations, and what differentiates him from his peers. Get ready to be inspired, and maybe, just maybe, you'll also want to lace up the gloves yourself after this episode. So let's dive straight into this episode. I want to ask you, why boxing for you? Why did you think of it one day? Why did you get started?
I thought it might be a great sport in general, not only for self-defense, but also for my whole discipline, for the whole mentality, for the whole physique also, because it really gives me so much of gratitude, also to express myself in different ways, to be more at peace with my inner self also, because I have worked out very hard, also got punched very hard sometimes, but I can also punch very hard too, which is also very great for a balance of life in general. If you're also like very good in business, in some other things in life, you can get so much energy from boxing and combat sports in general. And people always think like combat sports in general, they are like very aggressive, and people that do that have many tattoos and they are aggressive, they have not too many like cells in their brain. But that's sometimes the case. Obviously that's the dark side of the sport. But there are also like many people that do it, which have like high positions at big firms. And but also people that just want to enjoy life more, and because they work harder, not only in their career and life and work itself, but also in sports and with their whole physique, they can enjoy life more because they really kind of earned it to enjoy it more. And that's what makes it so special about all of it, actually.
I'm gonna throw you a different opinion on boxing versus other sports, right? So I've spoken to many friends, and one of the opinions is that, okay, fair enough, you're saying all of these things about boxing, but can I not get the same thing from football? Can I not get the same thing from tennis? Why? What do you think differentiates boxing and combat sports in general from team sports? I mean, some could argue boxing, you're all on your own. So what do you think differentiates boxing from other sports?
I think first of all you need to make a difference in between doing competition and not. Just training itself is very different itself already, because you hurt people maybe, you also hurt yourself maybe. You have to be more aware about your own health, about your own body, than maybe in soccer or like swimming or something. Then also you have to categorize, go swimming in the ocean or go swimming in the fucking pool. So that's also a big difference. But I really think that boxing itself, if you do it in a competition, it's like, from the mindset itself, it's like not really like going to the military, but almost having like a high, let's say, function in the military, because it's straightforward, it's discipline. You have to get up every day early, you have to stick to your plan, you have to stick to the diet, you have to stick to the workout and everything else that comes with it in order to succeed, and in order to make yourself also like satisfied about the things you are doing regarding boxing itself. So I think there's a huge difference in between other sports and boxing, just itself already because of the beating. But if it comes to the competition, I think a lot of sports, they are kind of in the, let's say, in the same setting. Or like the athletes, obviously itself. Because they have like such a tunnel vision on, right? and the tunnel vision is the same for everyone.
Yeah.
But in itself, it's completely different. Because you have different things you have to do in this sport in comparison to the other one.
To the other one, yeah.
So that's what I think about that, actually.
And about just one thing you talked about, I want to kind of go into a bit deeper, is the self-resilience that you kind of learned through boxing, like getting hit, because it's a contact sport, it's physical. Football, less so. Like, of course you have, you know, the same kind of aspects, but you're actually getting punched in the face here. So for your ego, and to be able to take that, do you feel like that has also been able to help you in not just boxing, but in your life? Because you know you can get hit, you can be flat out, and you can get back. Everyone talks about, you know, the strongest people are the ones that get up. But it's easier to say that than actually experience it in the sport.
Yeah, definitely. And you also realize that also, even though without doing any competition, also with just practice
Just
itself,
casual practice,
just
yeah.
sparring, just also like already some contact like exercises, and partner exercises.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's helped me also like for life in general, even though when I go out with my friends and we get into a bar and then someone else approaches us, and or one of my friends, right, and he goes with whatever, you jerk and stuff like that, he just yells at one of them and just goes straight in it and thinks some bad things about him.
Yeah.
Then I used to be the guy who goes like, what do you want? And I threw bad words at them too and stuff like that. And now I can just sit back and observe, kind of, because I know I could beat him down easily, but I don't need to.
But you don't need to.
And I know it would be stupid if I do. But if he comes and touches me, I'm allowed to do a little thing, like not too much as just pushing back,
self-defense,
or just self-defense, just like but not out of nowhere, obviously.
Oh, of course. If someone does it first to you.
Exactly, and since I'm really into boxing again, like very focused, I also don't. I had a few confrontations, obviously, on the streets, but
and do you think the
not
boxing,
directly.
Do you think the boxing helped you in those confrontations, or?
It definitely did. It definitely did, because otherwise, I think I would have been not that stable with my confidence of thinking about how I would maul this other guy down, right? So
isn't it more of a confidence thing? Because, you know, if someone comes up to you with a knife, like, you're not gonna get ready and start sparring him. You're probably the obvious option, or a gun. The obvious option is to run away. But more for yourself, in a self-confidence way, that, you know, you can handle uncomfortable situations and physical altercations. Like, you can, so it's more of a mental thing sometimes than you actually swinging at someone, you know, when your life is at threat, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's also, I would say, if you're a boxer and it's quite known in the area or in the environment you're around, with your friends and stuff, that you definitely are a boxer. Then you have to be very, very careful what you do physically.
Okay,
so, because if you get into a fight, then it doesn't matter if the other person had a knife or not. If you're successful by beating the other guy down, or just assaulting him, and or he makes a crazy story out of something, and goes to wherever and tells it to someone else, which brings it to things and institutes like the police, which we all love, then it's just like very, very difficult to get back into the sport itself, because it's a combat sport. You are guilty as a weapon itself, actually. When you really are into boxing, you're in a club, everybody knows it around you. Also, the guy who you have beaten up obviously knows it, or realized it because of the technique, whatever, right? Or the punching power, or speed, whatever. But you realize when someone boxes or someone is into combat sports, obviously it's not it's not too difficult to realize. But then you are guilty as a weapon, and that won't be very, very nice in front of the jury, court, whatever, if it gets very bad.
It's a good point as well,
But it definitely helps for the mind to know, to be able to, but you don't need to.
So I wanted to ask you about a day in the life. You know, let's talk about discipline. Let's talk about motivation. Let's talk about the things that are in our control. Because in fighting and these sports, a lot of things are not in our control. Luck,
Sure.
how we feel on the day, can't control that. But hard work you can. So tell me how a day in your life looks like.
I'm gonna speak about it in the end again. It's about the plan, how you plan your day. And really important is to make a schedule, kind of like in school or something. So you have like different tasks, so you're also less stressed to do those things, and also do one thing at a time and not like several at one time, right? So you're kind of multitasking, which is also a kind of another form of let's say procrastinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you just like organize your day more, you get more done, and that's also very important when you go like in practice in the evening. So to go to practice in the evening, some things are maybe possible to not be done like at that time, but if you're not going to practice in the evening, you definitely have like a big problem with yourself sometimes because you wanted to get things done, right? And if you don't get those things done, and you're not going to practice, then you're also not going to have a very peaceful sleep. Because if you went to practice, you sweated like hell, and you sacrificed your whole body and your whole mind into it, and you gave 120% once again, then you have also a peaceful mind, a peaceful inner self, which is very important also in combat sports, not only in life, like in general. Because many known boxers and fighters already said, the best boxer or the best fighter is never angry. So that's kind of also one of those principles I follow, and I really like to stick to it.
Just like to stick to it. So you talked about giving your 100%. I think
120.
120, rather.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How do you measure that? Because, for example, in the gym, when it's fitness, you can say, okay, I'm going to train till failure. That's my way of giving 100%. In school, you can say, okay, I'm going to study this many chapters and this many hours, blah, blah, blah. That's my way of giving 100%. But for boxing, in a day, what does your 100% look like?
Well, when it comes to a training session, and let's say I injured my wrist, okay? Because of the heavy bag.
Yep.
I hit a left hook a little bit too bad or something like that. Then usually 99% of the people would quit, right? They would go home, they would go shower, they would go sleep, they would cry around, whatever. But who gives a fuck about them then, right? But the people that give a fuck about people that still keep going then afterwards, they know how the pain is in such a moment. So for me, 120% is then, instead of still punching with left, you just punch more with right.
You're right.
And when the left one is healed again, you can punch even more with left again. Still starting slow again, because the body is not like the mind. My mind is sometimes stronger than my body, which I realized many of the times.
Okay.
Also running up here in this region, also boxing in the gym itself. So my mind is not always a measurement for my body.
Right, right.
So 120% is for me, just keep going even though when it hurts.
When it hurts.
More.
Yeah. So
always.
You just talked about your running, I think.
Exactly.
That's my question. That's my next question. People talk about interval training. People talk about, different techniques for cardio. Lots of people like training on high altitudes, right?
Yeah.
Where we are kind of right now.
Yeah.
What is it for you, and what do you think has worked the best? Because I'm sure you've tried different techniques of training, cardio-wise. What works for you?
Regarding boxing itself, I really think interval training is the most important of it to get.
And could you explain what that is for someone who doesn't fully understand?
Yeah, of
maybe
course.
Short?
Of course. That's when you go a steep hill. Mm-hmm. You have a steep hill, you sprint up there.
Okay.
You walk back down slowly. You breathe. You might stretch a little, whatever. You do some shadow boxing the way down, whatever. Which is not interval, of course.
Yes.
Interval itself is just getting your pulse up and then back down again, from 0 to 100 and from 100 to 10.
Right.
And then from 10 to 100 back to 20. and always like up and down, up and down, up and down. That's kind of my visualization,
Right.
also kind of.
And
So-
is that because it connects to boxing in the way that it's the break between rounds, or is
Exactly.
Is it that?
Exactly.
Okay. Right.
Because you have to go full speed, and sometimes when you are also like blocking shots, you should never block more than like let's say 2 or 3 shots.
Okay.
You should get back after 1 shot, actually, you say, and then you should go full boom, boom, boom. Because when you're at the fence or you're in the corner and you're just protecting yourself with a double gear, kind of, and you're not punching
throwing,
anymore. The referee sees it very clearly as if, bless you,
Thanks.
very clearly as a anxiety also.
Right. And
So
he's
the
for
other
the
one-
safety of the fighter. Yeah.
Exactly, and the other one gets more points then.
Right.
So you go fast and slow in the middle of like
Cool.
0 to 100.
Yeah. So another vital aspect of training, of fighting, of any sport, to be honest, is diet. You know, a lot of focus is put on diet, and especially people in bodybuilders, for example, say that without the diet, all the training they put in is pointless. So I want to ask what your opinion is not only on that statement, but also just on diet in general and how you incorporate it into your life.
Yeah, exactly. Bodybuilders, they have like so much other food that they take into their body as a like compared to a boxer.
Yeah.
Because in boxing, you're either like featherweight, heavyweight, light heavyweight, whatever. You have so many different weight classes and divisions. And so for me, I'm in the like featherweight division
Okay.
with like 63 kilograms. So I focus more on like salmon, fruits, like with many vitamins.
Yeah.
Lots of different proteins, lots of different nutrition. So and also the carbs are also very important. Like
Of course, for energy. Yeah.
Exactly. So I focus on that, and I don't really listen. Like, it's interesting to get to know other diets from other sports, but I've done other sports before, and yeah, to be honest, I was always kind of happy with my body. I always want to get better, and I always do. And I stick to a plan, and let's say always for 3 weeks. I have 1 week not off, but kind of a little bit more easy taking, and then after I go full in again. And I really see like a very, very big like transition in that.
Okay,
So,
right.
like not even with taking photos of myself in the mirror, but just as
How you
itself.
feel as well.
Exactly, with the speed and
Yeah.
stuff also, yeah.
Yeah, because I think for boxing and just fighting in general, it's different to other sports in the way that you kind of have to maintain your weight if you're staying at that weight class. So the way you eat is also dependent more on calories and the number of calories rather than really what you're eating too much. I guess you don't have to be like exactly too strict unless you're in a fight camp when it gets to the future. So is it more for you that you have an understanding now of how much you should be eating in a day to sort of stay at your weight, or is it more on what you eat?
Let's say that way, I do it like I eat more consciously, definitely.
Yeah.
It's just a different way of thinking about it. It's a different way of taking something into your tummy, and you do it with more consciousness. As before, when I was playing soccer, playing basketball, playing football, whatever, I had different sports before, like when I didn't really do a diet, and I just ate and ate and ate. I wasn't fat, obviously not, but like overweight, let's say it that way. But I was sometimes a little bit more than I wanted to be in my body, so yeah. Now I do it with more consciousness.
Cool.
Let's say.
Makes sense. So we just had quite a tough boxing session. I definitely realize how tough the sport is when you're actually doing it versus watching it. I remember watching at home, you think you can do that, I can do that, but it's definitely different. So thanks for the session. But yeah, let's take this to the next topic, kind of in terms of the future. I want to know what your goals are. Do you set goals for the next 1 year, for the next 5 years, and tell me what those goals are in relation to boxing and your journey?
Yeah, sure. I definitely have goals when it comes to that, and that's for the next 5 years. Like, I definitely want to have, like, let's say 5 fights at least, when not 10. And for the next 10 years, I want to have like 10 until 20 fights, actually. That's what kind of the future should bring.
Right.
Let's say it like that.
Cool. And so 10 to 20 fights in the next 10 to 15 years. Do you have any techniques that you use to visualize those goals, or any way that you write them down? Because it's a topic that's actually been spoken about on our podcast by a lot of guests, from different industries. Some like to write them down, some like to just think about it. Some actually don't even like to speak about it because they feel like it adds too much pressure. So how do you take it, and what do you think the best way and the most optimal way for you in regards to goal setting is?
I would say I usually tell my goals, and especially also like those, let's say 10 until 20 fights. Like I said here too, I'm used to telling those goals to other people. Not everyone, but here it is also almost everyone, obviously. But there are also like different parts of the goal itself. So I have detailed goals in an overall goal. And because I tell it to closer people, they might support me because they like me, love me, whatever. And the people that hear it too, they also might love or like me. But there are also like many haters out there, which is also motivation to me though. But let's be honest, motivation without discipline is nothing. Yeah. So my discipline is just to stick myself to the whole thing. That's my technique, to like not give any damn about anything else, and just also like put all the distractions away. So I focus on everything I really do, which brings me to that goal and to that level where I want to be at. And that's all my motivation I need for my discipline. Yeah. And the opposite way around it.
100%. Yeah. So you talked about breaking it down into smaller goals, right? So your long-term goal is to have X number of fights. But just for our audience who may be wondering, yes, I also want to have 5-10 fights in 10 years, but how do I sort of start now? What do I do on a day-to-day basis? And how do I, what goal do I have short-term? Because you talked about you also having short-term goals. So is it every day you giving your best? Could you maybe give some advice to them?
Definitely, it's not always possible to every day stick to the thing and give your very, very best. That's you can always say you give 110, 120%. That's possible to say it. But your body itself in sports is not able, for exception, David Goggins, his body is, but the usual body is not able to perform at 120% every single day and getting better and better and better because of the body itself. It's also the mind which grows with it. It's also the whole process which grows the whole body and mind combined with it.
Right, so you're talking about accepting, for example, if you have a shit day in the gym.
Exactly, just accept it, swallow it, and go forward. Right. Just stick to the plan, stick to the point, and push through the pain, absolutely. Yeah.
So thanks so much, Maurice, for taking out the time in your busy schedule for this podcast. I think it was great. Honestly, learned so much from a physical aspect, also the mental aspect of things. So thanks a lot. Is there any place that the audience can find you that you want to tell them about? You can kind of do that now.
Sure, thanks. Yeah, thank you too, actually. It was very great talking to you. You can find also my podcast, which is without the videos. I mean, the backstory is a little bit further than me.
No.
But it's also a different kind of podcast in a different kind of sector. It's called SRTT, Skyrocket to Top. You can click on it on Instagram. Oh, great. Thank you. And also for boxing itself, please don't hesitate or something and follow Golden Dragon Basel, which is my gym where I work out. And
if anyone wants to start boxing, that's where you go.
That's where you go. You have a great coach over there, Kevin de Barbarian. He's a Swiss guy, but he also speaks English, and we also have lots of others like English-speaking people over there.
Perfect.
So yeah.
Cool. Thanks so much, then.
Thank you very much too.
And see you soon.
Nice day. See ya.
Bye. Fuck's sake. Sorry.